And welcome back to What If Week. And this is the second What If this week from Solo Spartan, who asked the question, what if Mewtwo were in the Dragon Ball Z franchise? Now, first off, do you like my little thumbnail here I made? Do you like, I actually figured out, it took me long enough to actually figure out, oh wait, I can cut the image out and paste it in some way. You can see like the remnants of the former picture it was part of. And I had to use some paint to just kind of, get ash out of the picture there. But yeah, no, I think it looks pretty good, all things considered. Goku punching Mewtwo, that's pretty cool. It's because I have no talent for this whatsoever in terms of that. But anyway, what if Mewtwo were in Dragon Ball Z? Now, for us to set this up, we could do one of two things. We could just plot Mewtwo in Dragon Ball Z through dimensional bullcrap, which is possible in Pokemon. Nowhere near as possible as it is in Dragon Ball Z, but still possible. Or we could say that Mewtwo is something that exists already in. We give it give him all his powers, or it's all its powers. It's technically genderless, but almost always with a male voice. So we'll just say him. Or we can say that Mewtwo was created within the Dragon Ball universe and still has all of its abilities. So I'd say the easiest way to go about it would be kind of how I traded the Metal Sonic one. It was to say that yes, he does exist within the Dragon Ball universe, not that he's transported to it. And because he's a man-made life form, that it's kind of makes sense to do it that way. You can easily say because Jerome made the biomechanical android cell, or biomechanical weapon cell, that he had one more backup in place just in a completely different area. So when it finally awakens, you have Mewtwo. So when does Mewtwo awaken? Well, Mewtwo awakens probably, again, after Cell's defeat. I think it's like maybe programmed to do that. Now, that being said, Mewtwo wakes up. Maybe he even still has a couple like spare droids working on in there to make sure it's vital. So Mewtwo wakes up, and he's unlike with Metal Sonic. He has the purpose probably stalled mentally, but he is his own individual. That's the big difference we're going to have here with Metal Sonic and Mewtwo scenario. Is that Mewtwo, his own individual, Metal Sonic, no, he's just programmed to seek and destroy. So, he wakes up, blows up the place, and he's like, I must find the Son Goku to destroy him, or at least ask him why. Why was I born? So he goes traveling. Now remember, there's a big difference here with the Metal Sonic, again, versus the Metal Sonic, because that's the one I'm comparing to, because it has the most similarities. The Metal Sonic version, or scenario, and this. Metal Sonic had the ability to fight physically. Unless you get a Mega Evolved Mewtwo X, Mewtwo ain't a physical fighter. Like, his stats are still unbelievable. In fact, I didn't even think about doing this because it didn't occur to me until just now. Let me get Mewtwo's actual base stats up here real quick, just to show you how, because he is a legendary Pokemon for a reason. In fact, he's pretty much the legendary Pokemon. And Mewtwo's actual base stats stand as, roughly speaking, there's also a armored form, and there's other form like Shadow Mewtwo and all that crap. Mewtwo's base stats, by the way, in Pokemon, base stats are basically, just that, the base stats they have. Mewtwo's base attack stat is 110, so Mewtwo is no weakling, and he can learn physical moves. He can. He just can't learn a lot of them. Like, when you really break it down, I'm looking over like his stuff right now. His technical, like the TMs he can learn. He can certainly learn a few, but he can, and especially in later generations, he can actually learn he can learn all the punches and stuff like that. But if you're talking about his natural abilities, which he would already have, the only physical move he knows is Psycho Cut. That's it. He's not, and that's still a range attack that just does physical damage. So yeah, he's not a physical fighter, but what he is an extremely powerful psychic. Like, you don't see psychic abilities on Mewtwo's level in Dragon Ball Z. The closest one is probably Bobbity with magic, and even that's not that powerful compared to Mewtwo in terms of psychic abilities. That's not too powerful. And Frieza with just telekinesis, which, again, Mewtwo can do that no problem. So Mewtwo goes and he's looking, he's got it in his mind, and he's scanning mentally. Now, fortunately, the Z Fighters are all highly trained warriors to a degree, so they can tell when someone's trying to get into their head. And sure enough, Piccolo is actually the first one that says, like, what is this? Its power level is odd. And it's going towards Gohan. I gotta check. And then, he flies in there. Meanwhile, Gohan can sense it too. He can sense his strength and power. And he looks up and he sees Mewtwo floating up there. Just, where is Son Goku? I have wisdom. Who are you? I have now Mewtwo probably wouldn't be called Mewtwo in this. He'd probably just have an android moniker. Like, I am known as number. I'm trying to think what number he would, because they're technically an Android 21 too. He wouldn't be Android 22 because Cell's not labeled as an Android. He actually has a name. So Mewtwo would I am the bioengineered life form XN1. I don't know. I'm taking up a nightmare. But that name does not. I do not like that name. I have questions for him. Son Gohan. It's like, how do you know my name? It's like, how do you know my name? Your relation to Goku is obvious, and your power is similar. I wish to speak with him now. It's like, my father is. That's it. You can't. And then he just kind of scans Gohan's mind. Gohan can feel this and finally just shuts it down. Again, mind control is not something we see very often in Dragon Ball Z, and the few people that do get their mind taken control of can even resist it, like Vegeta resisted Babidi. So I imagine that even though Mewtwo is by far probably the most powerful psychic there is, he's still, because of hone training and all that and willpower, they're able to keep him too far out of their heads. But Mewtwo just gets it. I see, he's dead. And all of a sudden Piccolo shows up, and even Krillin shows up. She's like, what's going on here? Oh, what is that? Frieza? It's like, no, I don't know what this is. I don't know who this is. He claims he's another bioengineered android. Oh God, did Jerome make something else? What? If I cannot ask Son Goku my question, I will ask you. It's like, all right, well, fine. What do you want? I want to know the purpose for my existence. If Son Goku is no longer existent, I have no clear purpose. What is the purpose of being? Why should I not just go and destroy them? Like, he's just questions like, yeah, I'm not gonna let you do that. Yeah, and then, like what Goku does right here, punch it, and he just creates this shield. I can't break through. And then just again using psychic abilities. Whoa, and they be gone, useless one. Oh, Krillin. All right, that's it. Blast him again. Energy shield. I would imagine his energy shield would probably be on par with someone like 17's at least, because it comes from his psychic abilities, which are second to none. Ooh, excuse me. So, and let's not forget, Mewtwo can Mega Evolve without a person. We see that in one of the movies. Now, this Mewtwo can't do this because he's just newly born. But assuming we let him live long enough, I can see me doing that. Are we going to let him live? Well, first off, the Z Fighters are still just going toe-to-toe with him, and trying to break through. This is futile. And then like, you wish to fight me, so be it. Does like an aura sphere, just starts blasting the area, just boom. And he's just, he's just going toe-to-toe with him. Again, can't really fight physically. Not right now, because TMs don't exist in the world. Whatever attacks Mewtwo can learn naturally, those are the attacks he has. And all of a sudden, Gohan shows up in Super Saiyan, just blasts him point blank. Now, a Super Saiyan Gohan blast at that point was the strongest individual on the planet. That does, blow Mewtwo back into a. It's like you will not stand in my way. I will find purpose. All of a sudden, he picks up energy. He's like, special beam cannon. Now, remember, the special beam cannon's design or technique is designed to. It's basically a barrier breaker. The more you charge it, the stronger it gets, and because it acts like a drill, it pretty much can break down most barrier techniques. And indeed does that. It just lands, just blasts Mewtwo like, and then he not only does he then uses Future Sight, and then just kind of just prepares an attack for the future, but then all of a sudden he uses Recover. You are strong indeed, Z Fighters. And then just uses the Recover, and you can see kind of like a hit. I can imagine it would be like Piccolo just healing up there. I will not be denied my purpose, and then just uses Psychic and just takes all three of them, just throws them down. Krillin throws the Destructo Disc. Mewtwo just kind of grabs him in the air and just dissipates it. When you really stack it up, Mewtwo would actually be a really powerful threat in the Dragon Ball Z universe because he's a very different type of character power-wise. Gohan finally goes Super Saiyan, and even Mewtwo can understand that because Mewtwo's power isn't world level threatening per se. Yes, he's able to alter the weather, but that's not necessarily something that can affect the world. That can affect portions of the world, but it's not the world. But that said, we know at this point these guys are world ending, and I think Gohan is considered a solar system buster by the end of the Cell arc, because Cell was considered a solar system buster and Gohan beat him. But just as Gohan goes into Super Saiyan 2, that future sight comes back and like just hits him straight in the neck. Ah! It's like, and then just suddenly he grabs Gohan by the neck, just, using his psychic ability, just starts choking him, almost Vader style. It's like, what is the purpose? What? Tell me, what purpose do you have, boy? What purpose could any sort of existence bring? By the way, I'm giving Mewtwo access to all of his naturally learned techniques. I just think that's fair. Because in Pokemon you can only have 4, but this isn't Pokemon. So yeah, that's a lot of techniques you can have. My purpose is to protect my friends and the people I care about, my family, and that means protecting from anyone, even Alexei View. I don't care if you're confused. And he's just calling Mewtwo out, like kind of the hypocrisy. He's like, just because he doesn't have me doesn't mean he can't find it. And Mewtwo's kind of starting to ease up a little bit, and then Gohan blasts him straight in. He doesn't have the barrel up, so he just gets. Now he could heal up at this point. Now he's kind of starting to think like finding a purpose. What purpose could a being like me find? Look at me. I am not like you. I am not like anyone. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, and look at me. I'm big, green with pointy ears and antenna, and I don't have a penis. Look, anyone can do whatever. Anyone can find their purpose if they just look hard enough. Find something that matters to you and protect it, for God's sake. And then, Krill's just like, yeah, come on, you don't have to be like this. You can find a way, a new path in life, man. It doesn't have to be this way. To which Mewtwo just kind of thinks, perhaps I was a bit too hasty in my assumptions. And Gohan's got it, by the way, a hand trained right on. It's like, he tries to move, I'm blasting your head off. I was like, forgive my transgressions. I was only just recently awoken. And then he starts to kind of go into what exactly happened. Finally, all kind of calmed down and realized that this guy, just like 17 and 18, they're not necessarily evil. He's not necessarily evil. He's just never had a chance to be anything other than that. So they talk a little bit, and it's like, well, maybe we can get used to it. There's no need for that. And then he just recovers again. Just like, how the heck are you doing that? The doctor programmed many abilities into me. He wanted me to be a last resort, the perfect bioweapon. However, trust me, looking at a roster of Mewtwo's abilities, there's a lot I can do with Mewtwo in this series. And I'm not done yet. I'm only at 13 minutes. This is only a one-shot, so I'm going all the way to the end. So Mewtwo goes and tries to find a purpose. Ultimately, I think Mewtwo could find a purpose kind of like 17 did with protecting the park. I bet he could even meet 17. 17 could tell him about 16, who also was someone who initially was designed just to kill Goku, and yet he found purpose in something else. He found the value of life, and Mewtwo settles on this. And ultimately, I could see Mewtwo becoming the new 16 in a way, where he very much enjoys the nature and animal life. Like birds come to him, and he has a nice smile on his face when he looks at them. It's just, and he's much easier keeping the poachers away than someone like 17 is, even though 17 is perfectly fine at it, because he actually erases their memories using amnesia, which doesn't actually do that in the Pokemon world. Amnesia is a technique that just raises your special defense. But in this case, he just wipes their memories because, like, what are we doing here? Eventually, they come back because they get reminded. But he makes for a really good guardian, and probably maybe gets his own island to do that on, and it works out nice. Cut over to the Boo arc. See, this is where things could get really bad really quick. Nothing changes at first. Mewtwo is happy living on the island. In fact, I would imagine that Mewtwo, while he can sense things, assumes that they will be able to handle it. Ultimately, they are not, as so many people end up dying. And when, Subaru tries to use the universal extinction technique, that doesn't go anywhere. So, he's able to, avoid it. Even though it's powerful enough that it could kill him, he's able to avoid it, use the psychic abilities to redirect it. So when, Buhan is running amok, Mewtwo eventually shows up, realizing there's no more people left. to help Vegeta and Goku out. It's like, oh, did I miss someone? You did indeed, monster. Oh, then forgive me. Well, then forgive me for my transgression. And who are you exactly? I am Mewtwo. It's like, what? Where did you think that name from? It just kind of came to me. Oh, well, sorry about that, but I'm going to have to say that you're going to have to go away as I, deal with these. Could you hold on for a second? I will not. And he actually uses psychic abilities. And again, psychic abilities are not something that Boo is naturally, or like most of these Z-Fighters, including Boo, are naturally capable of defending against. Like just initially. And Boo, he just kind of shrinks Boo into a ball using his abilities, which are, if we're talking about world level powers, Mewtwo's psychic abilities are on a world level. Like, he can't destroy the world with his psychic abilities per se, but in terms of, he's like a Professor X kind of. That's how powerful his are. And he just kind of scrunches Boo into a ball. He's powerful. I don't know how long I can hold him. What the hell are you? How the hell are you doing this? He's pushing out there. And Mewtwo actually has to use both hands just to keep him there. But he's able to do it. But it's taxing him. Just and say, Goku, Vegeta, do it, destroy. And then basically they agree to fuse and just blast them apart. And they actually succeed in killing Majin Buu. Now, with a combination of the Namekian Dragon Balls and the Earth Dragon Balls, they are able to bring everyone back. And it was hell. Now, you can make an argument, well, would they really kill Buu? I mean, Buu was able to regenerate from just about anything. It takes, with enough power, they are able to just pure incinerate him down to the most upteenth level, pretty much. Because that's basically where, he's concentrated to a point, such a giant, it's kind of like with Cell. Cell could have regenerated from Gohan's blast if he had been able to get out of there at all, but he couldn't. So it's the same principle here, that eventually Buu is just ultimately defeated. And then they're able to bring everyone back, and Mewtwo goes back to his thing. Now, I imagine Mewtwo actually is able to, unlike 17, because he's able to erase the memory so well, he doesn't have a lot of repeat visits to his personal sanctuary island, or his nature preserve. So he probably can time, like, every couple of months, like, if someone tries, he just diverts them. So he can, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he can learn teleport, can't he? Naturally. Oh, nope, he cannot learn teleport naturally. Okay, can he learn teleport at all, then I think about it? Because that would be a perfect ability for him to have. No, actually, Mewtwo can't learn teleport. That's the one I'm surprised at. He can't learn teleport. Okay, yeah, but anyway, Mewtwo shows up, and I actually think he'd be, welcome. It takes a little It takes a little getting used to have actual friends, but Mewtwo is actually, enjoying this. He's enjoying talking to individuals, talking to people. Fat Boo. I imagine Fat Boo probably could be brought back with the Dragon Balls because he was pretty much good at that point. So you can make an argument that happens. But I think he can even get along with Boo. He's having fun. He's enjoying eating the food, too, because he has to eat. He's still a biological individual. So when Beerus shows up, everyone's getting your ass kicked. Mewtwo's like, you are a threat to this planet. Leave now. And that is an interesting question. How would psychic abilities work on Beerus? Well, I think, again, just like everyone else, it's not something they regularly go up against. So he's a little surprised that an individual is using psychic abilities, especially on this level. And he's actually and he's thinking like, psychic abilities, I see. And quite powerful ones at that. I can't remember the last time I met someone with your abilities, a creature. But still, and then he just kind of, he tries to do the shield, but Beerus just like, no, you're going to have to do better than that, cat. And it's like, look who's talking. It's like, oh, and then just knocks Mewtwo out cold. Like, Mewtwo, for as powerful he is nowhere near Beerus levels of power. And that's how that kind of ends up for a little bit. And eventually Goku comes in and saves the day. So where does Mewtwo fit into the rest of the series? Well, he would probably make sporadic showings. Similar to like 17, he wouldn't show up very often, if at all. He maybe shows up a bit more often than 17 does. Like 17 only showed up at the end of the series, really, when you think about it. But I could see him showing up maybe again for, say, the Resurrection F. And, eventually Frieza destroys the planet and all that. But really, he'd be one of the go-to guys to call for the Tournament of Power. That's what he would be. And honestly, he'd probably be the Boo state. He probably would be there instead of Frieza. So what ultimately happens? He would honestly just brainwash people into jumping, a lot of those fighters into jumping off the stage. And ultimately, Jiren would, I think, be the one who takes Mewtwo out. But not before Mewtwo tries to say it. So what would ultimately happen? He's actually forcing a lot of the fighters to just walk off the stage because he's just taking control. It's like just easier to do it this way. He can fly. He's one of the few who can actually fly with his own natural abilities, which gives him a supreme edge. And ultimately, then Jiren versus Mewtwo. Now, obviously, Mewtwo doesn't stand a chance against Beerus overall, but Mewtwo, Jiren. Mewtwo doesn't stand a chance against Jiren overall, but does not say he wouldn't give it a shot. And Jiren even blasts him with his eyes, and even throws an energy blast. Mewtwo blocks it with the Aura Sphere and Shield, and then I'm gonna throw everything at Jiren here right now. Looking at it, he still gets uses recover, uses Future Sight, and then comes in with a Psy Strike. The user materializes an odd psychic way to attack the target. It does physical damage despite being a special move. Jiren just blocks it. Basically nearly slams Mewtwo into the ground, and he just coughs up blood. But he's able to use Confusion or even Psychic. And I would say this, while we know it wouldn't do much because we saw him get out of a cage of time, it still would probably take Jiren by surprise where he starts floating, it's thrown back into a rock a bit. And he's even like, all right. And then, Mewtwo uses to recover, and they go toe-to-toe again. Now, physically and power-wise, obviously, Jiren's stronger. Ultimately, though, that Future Sight comes in, and he blocks it with that Eye Blast. But what he doesn't realize is that Mewtwo, seeing what that technique does disable, which prevents the target from using the last, for 4 turns, whatever the turn would be equivalent to in Dragon Ball Universe, it prevents the user from using that technique. So now he can't use that eye technique. He tries it again when Mewtwo does Mewtwo does like an Aura Sphere in his face, and it doesn't work, and he gets shot right in the face. And then eventually he just Concentrate Blast and knocks Mewtwo's ass straight out of the ring. But not before using a Life Dew to give him and some of his allies a bit of a boost. So then Goku and him duke it out. And that fight goes almost the same, with the exception of 2 scenarios. Where Goku gets back on the ring and charges at Jiren. Jiren, again, tries the eyes, and it doesn't work, and he has to block Goku again. And then there's a scene where he throws the Spirit Bomb back at Goku's face with, again, that Eye Blast, whatever that was. It was like flexing of his power. And he can't do it again, so this time he has to try a little harder. Again, ultimately, nothing really changed with the eye thing. But he still is able to disable the move and give Goku and everyone else who had already been fighting for a little bit, pretty much a little bit of extra boost. Ultimately, everything else plays out the same, and the Universe 7 wins, and they ultimately, win today. And 17 and Mewtwo go back to their respective islands. He wouldn't show up for Broly, and that's where I'd leave that. Again, I don't go into the manga with Moro. I hope when Super eventually comes back, because as far as we know, it will eventually come back. I hope when it comes back that we do go into the manga, because Moro's a cool character. Moro's a really cool character. And then I'll be able to actually continue some of these. It'll be a long time before I can actually continue them, but I'll still continue them. Anyway, I digress. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. Green Lantern video is the only other video I got to do, so keep your eyes out for that. Later.